And you know what? I was listening to Guru Jugat, of course, always one of her talks, and she was talking about like the number one thing we can do for self-care is to strengthen the nervous system. This is the number one thing. And the number one thing we can do to start to shift the energy in the world is to strengthen the nervous system. She says, if you have a weak nervous system, your life is going to be pretty challenging, right? There's going to be a lot of fighting, and this can be internally or externally, a lot of anger. And she says, like, this is what we see happening in the world right now. This all has to do with the strength of people's nervous systems. Yes? When we look at it on a political scale, on a world scale, what's happening right now, all has to do with the nervous system. So, and I was talking about this earlier, you know, it gets challenging in these times to say, well, what do I do? And which she probably would have told us back then if she was still around, would be whatever you want to see happen in the world, then start that within. Okay? Because we can't have peace in the world if we have inner conflict, right? We can't have love in the world if we have inner hate. Yeah? This like inner critic, this heavy weight within us. So she says, what you want to see happen, start internally doing that and demonstrating it to others, right? She says, the greatest leaders in the world are those that have somehow found a way out of their self-suffering and their self-sabotage. And they become leaders because then they start to demonstrate to others how they can also take this path towards this this release of self-suffering. Okay, so I hope these things help you guys right now. I think a lot of people are searching. They're searching for answers and direction and questions in a time where we feel like things are out of our hands or out of control. And instead of just throwing your hands up and saying, well, I don't know, I can't do anything, this is when we get really focused, right? And we start to really, really dive down into our practice, okay? The other thing is that she talks about is that this resistance is also important that's happening in the world. She says, and this is a quote that she said, we can't make art in our lives without resistance, right? So there has to be that contrast. There has to be kind of the fight, the working through something difficult in order to get that light, to get the art and everything like that. And she goes on to say that the ones with the least resistance end up the least fulfilled. Okay, so I want you to kind of sit with that. And I'll repeat it. The ones with the least resistance end up the least fulfilled. Okay? We've signed a contract. We're here on this earth for a reason. We are part of this resistance for a reason in this contrast. So take that for what it sits with you. It may not resonate right now, but I think there's some important things there. And when we talk about breath of fire, when we talk about cat cow, this is what we are doing. We are building and strengthening the nervous system in order to give us the space so that we can kind of look from above and see what's happening and decide how to respond instead of react with fire, right? Okay. So let's continue our work. Again, very important time for us to be together as a collective and to be doing these practices, because this is what the world needs, right? Stronger nervous system. It's true. This would heal a lot if everyone was doing this type of work, if we were all building our nervous system. And again, what do? We start with ourselves. Move internally, right? Right? We can't point the finger and say, well, those people are fighting, when we're fighting with ourselves, right? When there's hate inside of us and there's not love, okay? This is important. All right.